In today's local news, while the price of petrol has reached an all-time record last month, terms of trade continue to decline, with a drop of 2.6% in the June quarter. And an Auckland councillor has criticised a new plan to improve Maori well-being as a wish list that should not be funded. A high-power panel of GM experts from America put out a warning to New Zealand this week, calling for our country to change our tune on genetically modified food. But anti-GM campaigners here say there is no need. Christy Zhao reports.
A conference on genetic modification was held in Rotorua this week, and heavyweights including the U.S. government's biotech trade envoy and executives from agriculture giant DuPont were in attendance. The panel of experts delivered an ultimatum to the country, calling for Kiwis to change their perception about GE food or risk seeing our exports lag behind the rest of the world. But anti-GE campaigners say the Americans are simply scaremongering because New Zealand has been reluctant to get on the bus driven by profit.
New Zealand will not lose because of its GE-free status. It stands to make huge potential gains, both financial and otherwise, because of our stance from other countries wanting clean, green food. We need to ensure we protect that advantage, not compromise it.
Organic New Zealand's Debbie Swanwick says New Zealand's strength lies in the quality of the food it produced, and consumers stand to lose if crops become genetically modified.
But once GE crops contaminate conventional and organic crops, as they've recently done in Australia, consumer choice will no longer exist. So we will have to eat what the Americans tell us to and grow what they want and pay the price they demand.
But pro-GE experts say crop-enhancing technology is the best way to feed the world's rising population. And if New Zealand doesn't get on the bus soon enough, our crops could become outdated. Christy Zhao, 9 News.
When petrol and diesel commodity prices are lower, one would expect petrol prices to go down as well. Amy Shen has more.
Motorists faced high prices to fill up their vehicles despite lower petrol and diesel commodity prices. In comparison with former years since 2008, August saw a new all-time high record of $2.23 per litre before coming down a mere 3 cents of $2.20. According to AA analyst Mark Stockdale, fuel companies should reduce the price to fill up at gas stations since commodity prices and import costs are lower.
But the AA's calculation shows that the drop in commodity prices for petrol was more than that, and so we believe that the fuel companies should be cutting prices again on the price of petrol.
Diesel rose 6 cents to $1.57 per litre, but records indicate it's still not up there at $1.92 per litre in 2008.
The commodity price for diesel was much, much higher than it is today. And today's commodity price is lower really because we still are feeling the effects of a global recession.
The table shows how high New Zealand petrol prices stack up against other parts of the world. The UK seems to reckon the highest at $2.64 and the USA at $1.31 per litre. It's interesting to see diesel and petrol prices are the same in the States and that both the UK and Australia have higher diesel prices. Amy Chen, 9 News.
A new plan to improve Maori well-being in Auckland has been criticised as a waste of money. Christy Zhao reports.
The Independent Maori Statutory Board released a blueprint for Maori development over the next 30 years, setting out 49 cultural, social, economic and environmental goals for Auckland, including for the council to facilitate relationships between council bodies and Maori tribes, and the compulsory teaching of te reo in all schools. But Councillor Cameron Brewer is a critic of the plan. He says the 10-year budget already has a lot of initiatives to help Maori, so the new plan is a waste of money.
Some of it we'd love to do, but at this stage it's just not affordable.
Brewer says the city is barely trucking along with its operating deficit, and ratepayers are already burdened with rising rates bills, so it's too much for the board to ask for hundreds of millions of dollars of funding. But he denies having anything against Maori.
This isn't about race, or this isn't about Maori or anything like that. I grew up in heartland Ngāti Ruanui territory on a west coast lease farm in South Taranaki, and I want Maori to succeed as much as the next person.
Mayor Len Brown wouldn't be drawn on the practicality of the Maori plan, but he did say if 75% of it was completed, he would be happy. Christy Zhao, 9 News.
Physiotherapists around the world bring one health message each year. This year's message is relevant to people of all ages. Keisha has more.
For those who sit for more than 3 hours a day, this is something you want to pay attention to, because recent research published by the British Medical Journal shows that sitting for more than 3 hours per day can reduce life expectancy by 2 years, and over half the people surveyed were sitting for more than 6 hours per day. No wonder World Physiotherapy Day on 8th of September is urging people to sit less and move more.
Things like diabetes, arthritis, blood pressure, all of those things can be helped by moving a little more and sitting a little less.
Find time to get up and walk can be a tough challenge for those who work in an office, but creating small habits like standing up when you speak on the phone or use the stairs instead of the lift can reduce sitting time and moving more. There are other tips suggested by the Physiotherapy of New Zealand for your workday. Try a standing meeting or walking meeting. Fill up your water bottle on the other side of your building. Get to work the active way. Walk over to a colleague and pass on a message instead of emailing. Head to the gym during your lunch break. Try some quick exercises at your desk. Invest in a pedometer or set up your desk as a standing desk. Also a good idea to check with a physiotherapist to see what other movements and exercises would be good for you. Kay Chow, 9 News.
Earthquake Recovery Minister Jury Brownlee announced yesterday in Christchurch that the redevelopment of the Christchurch and Burwood hospitals will be the largest hospitals built in the history of New Zealand's public health service. Brownlee also said the total cost is expected to be more than $500 million, with the final price tag to be confirmed in December. Terms of trade for New Zealand continued its decline during the June quarter. Christy Zhao reports.
The terms of trade measure the quantity of imports a country can purchase through the sale of exports. Sometimes they can be a proxy for the country's social welfare state, and for the June quarter, New Zealand's ability to earn its living as a trading nation showed further decline, falling 2.6% in the last 3 months to 6.8% below the same time last year. Dairy export prices continue to fall, and they are now at 14% below their peak a year ago. Meat prices also fell 2.3% to 7% off their peak a year ago. But oil prices trended upwards for the quarter, putting them at 10% above the level from a year ago. Economists say further declines in export prices are expected. Christy Zhao, 9 News.
New Zealand Fashion Week kicked off on Monday, showcasing New Zealand's innovative and exciting fashion talent throughout this week, with 4 days of industry shows and the weekend open to the public. The opening launch on Monday night, however, held a minute's silence in the memory of a volunteer, Felicity Wren, who was killed in a car accident on her way to the events. New study shows the shape of a glass could affect how people drink. Keisha has more.
Different glass shapes can give the same volume of liquid the appearance of varying volumes, and in hand make people down a beer more quickly because of this optical illusion. The study set out to test how much glass shape affect beer drinkers' intake. 160 young social drinkers participated in the research. While watching a nature documentary, the participants are asked to drink one of 2 volumes of lager or soft drink. At the end of each session, the participants performed a word search task, the purpose of which was to throw them off the true purpose of the study. The result confirmed that people drinking a full glass of beer from a curved glass drank in about 8 minutes, while it took on average 13 minutes for those drinking from a straight glass. But there were no differences in drinking time between curved and straight glasses of half a beer. It seems that social beer drinkers naturally pace their drinking by judging how quickly they reach the halfway point. Because a curved glass holds more beer in the top half, drinkers intuitively drink faster. The lead researcher Angela Edwards suggests a solution of marking beer glasses with a half-full line, so the drinkers have more control. Kate Chow, 9 News.
Now we have our TV9 host from Asia Focus, Julie Nixon, to comment on spirits sector finds niche.
New Zealand used to make cheap and cheerful wine for domestic consumption, bad copies of other people's wine. But once we developed our own unique style, the industry took off. The wine industry is now a $1.2 billion a year business. Our Pinot Noirs and Cabernet Sauvignons are drunk all over the world. The success of the wine industry is a role model for the alcoholic spirits industry, which is at a similar stage of its evolution to the wine industry back in the 1970s. According to a report, the spirits industry could be on the cusp of a major breakthrough. The report, conducted by the research firm Coriolis as part of a wider project for the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment, says spirits exports have been growing at a compound rate of 10% per annum over the past decade. The driver of this success is the use of flavours unique to New Zealand, such as Manuka honey and kiwi fruit. The report says the growth in the spirits sector is such that it could be on the verge of producing new products and new flavours. In the past few years, possibly spurred by the phenomenal success of 42 Below vodka, which was sold to the liquor giant Bacardi for $138 million in 2006, numerous small-scale spirits manufacturers have entered the market. One of these is a Wellington company which produces the German schnapps brand Zumwalt, which is being exported to Australia, and there are plans to begin sales in New York this year and China after that. To be up front, there are many challenges standing in the way of the spirits companies, including the fact that the distributors are not necessarily going to distribute their brands. However, the trend is upwards. The local spirits sector is only a $60 million a year export industry at the moment, but the success of the wine sector, which exports $1.2 billion of product, or did so for the year to June this year, the trend is pretty much up. So good luck to them. I think it's a great opportunity.
Thank you, Julian. Now let's take a short break and we'll be back shortly.